after you started getting out of competitive surfing, right? And maybe dealing with the corporate world and where you were going, next in your life, what's changed as it relates to getting older? Is your workout routines the same as when you were surfing, or?
It wasn't like I had this strict diet or workout regime. Like I literally just surfed. I was young, I was stupid. I had a fair amount of my booze and eating McDonald's and just eating, I wasn't like a well-paid pro surfer, so budget was a big deal. To be honest, I didn't really have that aha moment about my health until like not even 8 months ago. I mean, I've always been relatively in shape, minus love handles and, just being a little bit lax in my diet. A lot of carbs and sugar and desserts and all that fun stuff.
When you're 20 years old, if you're active, like you're going to be in good shape. Like, you could eat McDonald's, you can get away with that stuff. You could be a professional athlete. There's lots of professional athletes that eat McDonald's and perform at ridiculously high levels. They would perform at higher levels if they didn't, but you can get away with that stuff. So what I hear you now is there was an aha moment where maybe just being active wasn't enough for you.
It wasn't enough because I'm very active. So surfing is my passion, but I love a lot of sports, to be honest. Tennis is a very, very close second for me. I love jiu-jitsu and MMA, Muay Thai, mountain biking. I love to snowboard. I'm completely addicted to that lifestyle, but I would counter it with daily drinking, straight up like 2 to 3 cocktails a night, every single day, and then eating carelessly. Like, I haven't had fast food. I completely took out fast food out of my diet years ago. I haven't been to McDonald's in a long time. However, carbs are carbs, sugar is sugar, but it's very easy to still just grind things that taste delicious but aren't necessarily good for you. My family and I went to Europe for 2 weeks, and we went to Paris and parts of Italy, and obviously food there is amazing. And they drink wine all day. So I was like, when in Rome, and I was like, sure, I'll have wine for breakfast. That person is. I came back and I jumped on the scale and I was just like, whoa, okay, crap. This is the most I've ever weighed in my life. And it was like one of those, like, okay, I cannot get used to this because then this is going to be my new weight. And then 2 years from now, I'm going to jump up another 10 pounds. So kind of out of the blue, yes, I made mention to my wife, like, holy smokes, I weigh this much right now. I was like 205. So I told my wife, I'm like, holy smokes, I've hit a record with my weight. And she's like, really? So one morning I'm drinking my coffee and she's like, we're going on a diet. I'm like, oh yeah? She's like, yes, starting today, because I hadn't eaten anything. And I was like, all right, I'm in. What does this entail? She's like, no drinking. Staring at her like, really? She's like, no carbs. And, you're going to hit the brakes on sugar. We're going to hit the brakes on sugar. I was like, all right, I'm in. I need to lose this weight. I needed that little kick in the ass. Let's do this. And we did it, with the exception of having one treat day a week where we could kind of splurge and I could have a cocktail or two and create a little balance. So I wasn't completely ruling it out. And up until that point, I hadn't not had like a drink nightly unless I was just sick. Like if I had like a bad flu or a cold or something, I wouldn't drink. But otherwise I'd drink every single night. Not to the point where I'd get drunk, but I would drink. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm up for this challenge. I did a month break, maybe like 5 months prior. I did like a sober month. I forgot what month it was, and it felt great. So I did it, and it was like, whoa, I'm sleeping much better. It took a little while for the weight to start to wear off. It wasn't happening as quick as I hoped, but all of a sudden, like 3 months later, I was starting to see the results, like where it was like people are coming up to me going, you lost a lot of weight. I'm like, yes, that is such music to my ears. I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't miss alcohol. Like when I would have that treat night, I'd feel like shit the next day. Pardon me. I'd feel horrible the next day. The alcohol, and I would sleep poorly that night too. So I was like, okay, this is like a blessing in disguise, where I needed to like firsthand experience what the results will be versus what I'll be told. And it was like a game changer, and it just really reset my mindset. Like, where I was like, I don't need booze every night. I don't need it to go to sleep, which I thought I did. I thought it was more of a medication where it would help me relax and I'd fall asleep. Ironically, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have a hard time falling back asleep because it's probably processing the booze and the sugars. And
Your wife said, hey, we're going to go on a diet, which when I hear that, and I know when Lonnie hears that, it makes us like, we wince a little bit because we don't love the idea of like temporary diets. But it sounds like it was 8 months ago that you went on this diet, and you made it a diet, it sounds like, or a change that is, something that you can live with, right? So you have a cheat day, you forgive yourself if you do something, if you can have a drink. It sounds more like, hey, this is something that I've integrated, and this is now part of my lifestyle. This is how I live. Is that accurate?
that's accurate. Yes. Which I personally never thought would be possible. I thought, all right, I'm a low-tiered alcoholic. It doesn't change my behavioral patterns at home, so it's okay. But I was dependent. And now it's been like 8 months, and it's like, I don't care if I don't drink. It feels great. Like, there's no dependency. It's really liberating. And I wasn't sure if I would ever achieve that. And it was just like, whoa, I can do this, And it was, anyone can, obviously. And then that's such a cliche. Anyone could do it if you put your mind to it, until you have to do it yourself and really get into the weeds of it. And then once you do realize that you can, it's like I said, it's very liberating.